Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're checking out overly sarcastic production, specifically read summarizing Shakespeare, starting with Much Ado About Nothing, Hamlet. I've actually read a lot of these, and in the case of Midsummer's Night Dream, I acted as a tree in a play once. It was great, but I had to leave. I was waiting for that line all day. Let me have it. You guys know the deal. Link below video. Hit it up. Let's get started.
Much Ado About Nothing is the charming tale of love, betrayal, heaping loads of sarcasm. Brian Blessed!
It's all... Wait. In all its magnificence. Oh, he's probably one of the actors who did this on stage. Yeah, that would do it. Also, it's weird seeing Red use clips from videos because I'm so used to her animations that seeing the old style of here is a standard YouTube review video is, I mean, it's still really fast paced and not bad, but it's different.
Beard and grown men splashing around in fountains. This
was actually part of
classic
it?
Shakespearean tale follows the romance between two interesting, funny, sarcastic human beings and their less interesting associates.
Yeah. The only thing I remember about this is, one, there's a bunch of people who are interesting showing, well, essentially Taming of the Shrew before Taming of the Shrew was a thing, but also how it's like the two people who don't want anything to do with each other and hate each other, but really love each other, and they find out they love each other by everyone else tricking them into it. It's true love, which is boring, and actually kind of liking the person you can deal with because they're an equal and you can really talk to them. It's fun, which is way better. You think that Shakespeare hated true love, considering how many times he found all those people and killed them. And I would say, yeah, they're probably right. It's a stupid trope, and I think it kind of shows it.
Now for the characters. There's this sarcastic dude, Benedict, this sarcastic chick, Beatrice, forgettable dude, Claudio, forgettable chick, Hero, Prince Trustworthy, and Prince Untrustworthy.
Wait, is that freaking Keanu Reeves? They have a Keanu Reeves. Oh, this is weird.
Villain so flat and cardboard, he can be played by Keanu Reeves. Sarcastic chick lives with her cousin, Forgettable Chick, on the estates of Forgettable Chick's father, this old guy.
Oddly enough, I have seen this movie, and I have read this play. Never seen it acted, but that's just because I'm lazy and plays are expensive. But I've done those two others. So, yeah, I actually recognize the references. Also, that means I literally watched this entire movie knowing who Keanu Reeves is, and when he came on screen, I did not recognize him. Whoa.
Dude, sarcastic dude, and the princes Trustworthy and Untrustworthy, along with a bunch of people no one cares about, decide to stay at the estates of this old guy. The Forgettables immediately fall in love with each other, while the Sarcastics totally don't, of course, because it's not like they like each other or anything. Forgettable dude decides to marry Forgettable chick, but he's too scared to talk to her for some reason, so instead he convinces Prince Trustworthy to talk to her at the masked ball they're having for some reason. So Prince Trustworthy, lovable good guy that he is, decides to help him out. So at the ball, Prince Trustworthy is chilling with Forgettable chick, while Forgettable dude sits around and wets himself with anticipation, when suddenly, with a dramatic musical cue, there appears Don Reeves himself. Don Reeves tells Forgettable dude that Prince Trustworthy is totally...
I'll be honest, it took me a second to recognize Don Reeves as a joke about Don Keanu Reeves. Because I don't even remember the character so much. I thought, oh, his name's actually Don Reeves? That's kind of... Oh, it's a joke. It literally took me a second to realize, oh, no, wait, no, it's not the character's name. Still can't remember it. Never going to.
Totally not wooing Forgettable chick for Forgettable dude. Instead, he's wooing her for himself. And Forgettable dude's all like, oh, Prince Trustworthy is actually untrustworthy? This is so in character for him. But enough of the...
Also, yeah, the entire plot line, I'm going to summarize it quickly so you know what is happening going in. The boring people are stupid. Yeah.
Forgettable dude's gullibleness over to the hijinks of the Sarcastics.
And they're much better.
While our friends the Forgettables are playing...
Honestly, I just wish Shakespeare wrote an entire play just about these two. I haven't read Taming of the Shrew. I've heard it's very similar, but I haven't read it, so I don't know.
Out their own mini soap opera, Sarcastic chick is talking to totally not sarcastic dude in a funny mask, complaining about how annoying sarcastic dude is and how he clowns around so much. What? Clown around? This paragon of severity? So sarcastic dude runs off and whines to Prince Trustworthy, who's busily chatting up Forgettable chick while Forgettable dude stares daggers at them. And Prince Trustworthy, lovable good guy that he still is, thinks to himself, wow, this matchmaking thing is going so well. I could get used to this. So he hands off Forgettable chick to Forgettable dude and is all like, here dude, she's totally in love with you now. Forgettable dude is all like, wow, you mean Prince Trustworthy was actually trustworthy? Who would have thought? And Don Reeves does his best curses foiled again face, which is unfortunately closer to his just smelled poop face and his happy face. I mean, this is Keanu Reeves. We have a precedent to maintain. So
11 years ago. Was this before John Wick? I mean, I'm assuming it is, but I don't know how long it took them to make 4 movies. And also because I'm afraid if I find out the answer, it'll just hurt me physically when I see the ages down. And I would like to avoid that for at least a few more minutes.
Prince Trustworthy, the Forgettables, and that old guy decide to totally hook up the Sarcastics with each other by the devious means of telling each one that the other likes them.
Yeah, it's stupid, but it's lighthearted and it's fun. And unlike most Shakespeare plays where here is the devious evil thing we are doing, it's like, okay, sure, whatever. Or it actually is evil and it's like, oh, sure, whatever. This is just fun and lighthearted. And it's a really nice little bit of, oh, wow, it actually worked. I like this. It's good. Its characters were a good match together.
Because if it works in 5th grade, it's got to work on 2 intelligent grown adults.
She's selling this as a joke, but I actually fully believe it would actually work on fully grown adults. Because let's be completely honest, it's not 5th grade over again. It's you never left 5th grade, you just get bigger.
But because this is a comedy, it totally does, and the Sarcastics fall head
would.
over heels for each other, requiring this gratuitous montage of the two of them apparently regressing back to the age of 5.
They would do that. Unironically, I have done that. Yeah, I am, yeah, I'm just digging that hole deeper, aren't I? Yeah.
Anyway, so Don, hater of fun John, decides to try to break up the Forgettables by the
I'm so
devious means of having one of his friends sleep.
Oh, this is where she's actually putting little inserts on the screen. So that's probably the first insert she ever did. Were there any others? No, there was one right here. Try to stab you with my mind. Yeah, it looks like the very first insert that I could see just by scanning was the stab you with my mind one. Huh. Dude.
With their love interest in Forgettable Chick's room while Forgettable Dude listens in for some gross reason. So Don Reeves is all like, that's totally Forgettable Chick in there and you can totally tell, and Forgettable Dude's all like, doip doip, seems legit, better make with the public shaming. So the Forgettables are about to get married when Forgettable Idiot yells that Forgettable What's-Her-Face was totally sleeping with some other dude, and Forgettable What's-Her-Face is all, have we even actually spoken to each other yet? And Forgettable Dude's all like, no, Mary.
Have they? I think they met. And then they fell in love immediately because it's true love, which Shakespeare clowns on, but a lot of people took seriously. And honestly, I'm hoping he's clowning on it because of how stupid everyone in true love looks. Huh.
Marriage for you.
Did
So
they?
she faints and Forgettable Dude leaves. Like any good husband. And then the friar
Yeah.
has this totally kick-ass idea. So if they tell Forgettable Dude that Forgettable Chick is dead, he'll freak out and be really sorry afterward. Totally worked in Romeo and Juliet, totally gonna work here.
I mean, I don't have a problem with how it turned out. These characters were boring. If they just happened to not be a thing, I wouldn't mind. If it happened to the Sarcastic group, I would actually be pissed off, though.
Anyway, so then the Sarcastics wander off and officially smooch or something, and then Sarcastic Chick tells Sarcastic Dude to go kill Forgettable Dude. Best plan ever. I'm not even joking.
No,
so
I'm with this
Forgettable
one.
Idiot and Prince Trustworthy the Gullible are just chilling when that old guy and Brian Blessed come up to them. So that old guy is all like, you killed my daughter because people can totally die from that sort of thing. And Forgettable Dude's all like, oh man, you mean my actions have lasting consequences? And Don Trustworthy is all like, I was too distracted by Brian Blessed's magnificent beard to be paying any attention to what you just said. So that old guy and Brian Blessed run.
I don't know anything about stagecraft to the extent that she definitely does. Why is she freaking out over him so much? What else has he been in? I mean, he looks like someone who just gets the face down, just for this little moment right here. Like, he looks like he's doing it in such a way that it's like, oh yeah, this is a guy who's used to the stage. Big, expressive eyes all the way open, gestures. I can see that, but I'm assuming it's from plays more than acting. Unless I'm mistaken, I could easily be.
And Brian Blessed run off. And then Sarcastic Dude shows up with his serious face on. So Forgettable Dude's all like, hey bro, how's it going? And then Sarcastic Dude's all like, I'm going to facepalm you to a wall now. And he does. And it's
Nice.
awesome.
You are a villain.
So Sarcastic Dude is
Can we just acknowledge, though, that if this movie came out right now, there would be so many people seeing this scene, taking out the audio and just putting random, very specific sound effects on it, and it would probably become the meme of the entire movie. And I actually don't think we need to pretend it probably would go that way. I'm surprised more people don't do it that way. Just like a guy holding another one going really close, whispering in his ear. You know exactly which song, maybe by Kenny G, would be behind that entire track.
all like, you, me, duel. And forgettable dude's all like,
And fuck consequences.
then that old dude shows up again, and he's
Fortunately, they
like, you
survive.
should totally marry my niece instead, because I totally still have one of those. And forgettable dude's all like, doip doip, seems legit. Oh, and in the meantime, the Sarcastics are writing bad poetry for each other. Honestly, it's like middle school all over again. Where was I?
Yeah.
So forgettable dude goes to marry the niece, quote unquote, subtle subtle wink wink nudge nudge, and
Wait, what did that even say? Seriously, that veil is totally see-through. How do you not recognize her? I think we've established they are stupid. That's not just my opinion. I've actually had entire classes going into this specific play and showing, yeah, these are idiots. And even at the time Shakespeare wrote it, they would be idiots. That said, the time he wrote the sarcastic ones would also be viewed as idiots, but I think they improved over time.
and surprise surprise, it's actually forgettable chick.
Shocking.
Because she still wants to marry him for some bizarre reason. And forgettable dude's all like, I love it when my actions have no lasting consequences. Yeah. And then the Sarcastics are like, we sort of want to get married, but not because we like each other or anything. And
It's
then the
too
forgettables are
tsundere.
all like, oh, for the love of Mike, and pull out the bad poetry. Irrefutable proof of the Sarcastics' affection. So they all get married and live happily ever after. Except for Don Reeves. He gets to stay a fun-hating rogue forever.
Yeah.
And probably in prison.
Next up, we have Hamlet, which is also one of the Shakespeare plays I have read. I think the ones after this, I have way less knowledge of. So it's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, I get what she's talking about. Usually it's like, I have no idea what she's talking about. And it's awesome. Now it's, I know what she's talking about. And it's also still awesome. I like her style. The video, Yorick's skull will be serving as a death counter. Also, this is the very first time she's had a thing appear on screen that didn't disappear too fast because all the previous ones did, which is also something she kept doing. Every time something appeared on screen to read, it was like, poop, and it's gone. Yeah, that never stopped.
Hamlet. No Shakespeare title is more universally recognized with the possible exception of Romeo and Juliet, as
Actually, I think not even an exception. It's the rule and then Hamlet. Midsummer's Night Dream might be in third, but that's more my personal preference.
one of his most iconic plays. It has been produced over and over again with a myriad of actors and character interpretations.
Was that David Tennant?
As one of his most iconic plays, it has been produced over and over again with a myriad.
That is David Tennant with a sonic screwdriver? Was Hamlet in Doctor Who? Okay, was not expecting that, but shouldn't be surprised either.
Of actors and character interpretations. The tragedy of Hamlet.
Wait, what was that with the banana? Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him because it's a guy holding a banana. Dear God, she's putting in memes so fast. It's like I'm watching a Maxor video.
The tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, is the tragic tale of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, whose father is murdered and kingdom usurped by his evil uncle, urged on.
Was that poison poured in his ear? I'm sorry. Yeah, that is his earlobe. That is ear poison. That's not how that can. They don't. You don't in. Unless it's designed to. It's a play. It's a play that doesn't matter. Or just say it's absorbed through the skin and move on. At that point, it'd be more caustic. I'm thinking about it too much. Just say it's mercury poisoning. He already probably had syphilis, so he probably just blamed that anyways.
Was murdered and kingdom usurped by his evil uncle. Urged on by the ghost of his father, he attempts to exact vengeance on said uncle and regain his kingdom. Statistically, you recognize this as the plot of The Lion King. Our story begins on the battlements of
Oh yeah, because The Lion King was basically Hamlet, but with better music. I keep forgetting that part. Probably because I keep repressing that part.
this castle. Resembling a veritable horror movie, we are told with rapid camera cuts and bright flashes of light that a ghost is haunting the castle. Specifically, a ghost that bears an uncanny resemblance to Brian Blessed, that is, the dead king, apparently.
I think I see where this is going. He's just in every movie read reviews for a while, huh?
The ghost has appeared the past few nights, and the guards have decided to bring in a named, non-disposable character to check it out, which is a remarkably savvy decision for a character in a movie whose description can be summed up as that one guy in the armor. And so we are introduced to Horatio, good buddy to Hamlet, who appears in all his tweed-clad British glory, vehemently declaring that the ghost will definitely not appear. At all. which it then, in true horror movie fashion, proceeds to do. Horatio,
Yep.
recognizing both that this armor-clad ghost is a foreboding omen of foreshadowing, and that his secondary character status is not good enough to impress the ghost into speaking, suggests that they bring Hamlet to meet it so that maybe the ghost will actually do something besides staring at them. Backstory time! Apparently, the kingdom is in a fervor of weapons making because the previous king, now deceased, killed Norway's King Fortinbras and conquered a good chunk of his land, and now Fortinbras, the son of Norway's old king, now deceased, wants it back. The weapons are for the country's defense because patricide-filled retribution tends to stink for everyone involved.
I actually didn't know that part, mostly because I found this play incredibly boring. I probably slept through the entire description of this. I know I'm talking about the play because I have not seen this movie, but I'm going to talk about the play more because it really did bore me.
Shadowing, ladies and gentlemen, cut to the court, where assorted noblemen have assembled to witness the marriage between the queen and her dead husband's brother. For a recent widow, she seems to be taking this immediate remarriage concept remarkably well. Hamlet's uncle, now
I mean, it's royals. I'm sure they haven't bred out the ability to think straight yet. I think that came later, but I'm not sure. That's how succession works, right?
the king, tells us, "Now, I understand that my brother died mysteriously not 2 months ago,
I mean, admittedly, succession works as, I'm king now, and if you disagree, thank you for volunteering to unalive. I will appreciate the sacrifice you chose to make willingly. Completely willingly, and with no one behind you helping you at all. Ignore the man behind the curtain, he won't be there long.
and I believe we should mourn him in the most respectful way possible. By partying! But
And
before
banging his
we're
wife.
now introduced to 3 more named characters: Laertes, Ophelia, and Polonius. Laertes
Wait,
is
Ophelia
Ophelia's
was in this?
brother and...
Oh,
wait,
guess I didn't use
hold
the
up a
name.
second. Polonius is that old guy! Awesome! I sure hope he doesn't wind up dead. Oh, wait. Anyway, Laertes requested permission to
Yeah.
return to France, but nobody cares about him because he won't become relevant for at least another 3 hours. Uncle Dad starts
They stretched the movie out for 3 hours? I mean, a play? Sure. A movie? Goddamn. Usually they cut that down a lot.
talking about how great it is to have a son-nephew like Hamlet, and it's pretty obvious that the feeling is far from mutual. So Uncle Dad is like, "Are you still on about that whole dead father thing? Come on, Hamlet, it's been like 2 months, which should be more than enough time to get over the tragic and sudden death of the man who raised you while you were abroad studying in England and couldn't be with him in his final moments."
Do they literally have Hamlet just dressed all in black in the most emo way possible? I think they do.
After all, statistically speaking, the vast majority of all fathers are dead, so this is nothing special. Hamlet's mom persuades Hamlet to stay at home and not return to his studies in England. Given that the last time he went abroad to study, his father died, this is not the hardest task to accomplish. And then she and Uncle Dad frolic merrily off to the bedroom, leaving Hamlet alone and angst-ridden in a large scene.
They literally decided to do this for the scene. I mean, hamming it up for the play is one thing. Hamming up this much in a movie. I have seen B movies named Sharknado, and I don't care what you say, that's a B movie. It's just as a really popular B movie. Or the B movie that is less on the nose. Wow.
Scenic room with excellent acoustics. Unsurprisingly, soliloquies ensue. Horatio appears again. He tells Hamlet that he's seen the ghost of his father, Hamlet Sr., the deceased one, so Hamlet decides to go find out what all the fuss is about. And back to the others again. It really doesn't feel like this is Hamlet's play at all. Anyway,
Really isn't.
it is revealed that Ophelia is Hamlet's primary love interest.
I mean, I'll be completely honest. It was a very boring movie. Hamlet is so much of a non-character. He's just doing what everyone else tells him to do, including ghosts. And then it sucks.
So, of course, Laertes and
To thine own self be true. He has no idea what his own self is. His own self should have said, fuck it, I'm leaving. Is terrible advice from the one idiot to another. Please stop tattooing it on yourselves. Wait, people actually tattoo that on themselves? Of course they do. That's so... the entire point is he has no idea what his own self is, so he can't be true to it. That's the tragedy. He fucks it up because he's listening to other... That's why it's... Okay, I get the point here. Yeah. Still kind of surprised that people tattoo themselves, but... I mean, we have companies who name themselves after, Terminator. It'd be really crazy if someone did that. Also, we're going to name our company Skynet. Give it a matter of time. If it's not in copyright anymore, it will happen.
Polonius, her brother and her father respectively, waste no time in telling her to stay away from him because nothing is worse for a girl than the handsome heir to a wealthy kingdom. Ophelia agrees to spurn Hamlet's affections.
Yeah.
Sure hope that doesn't go horribly wrong. Oh, wait. That night, Hamlet goes to the battlements with Horatio and a couple guards, where Hamlet Sr. appears in full Brian Blessed glory. Hamlet, against the warnings of both the guards, Horatio, and common sense, opts to follow the ghost into a terrifying skeletal forest where the horror movie trend continues when... That is, the ghost speaks for the first time.
Oh.
The ghost tells Hamlet of his fallen unnatural murder at the hands of his brother, Uncle Dad, and tells Hamlet to avenge him. Hamlet, who was one more awkward touching away from stabbing his uncle anyway...
Yeah, honestly, they definitely play up how much he hated him here. Although I think I remember it being less, like he was more ambivalent than angry immediately. They definitely played up that here a lot more.
is very grateful for the legitimate reason to hate him and swears to avenge his father's death. Brian Blessed vanishes, and Horatio and the guards burst through the trees, where Hamlet makes them swear to never reveal what they saw. Shortly thereafter, Ophelia comes running to that old guy in a state of great distress. Apparently, Hamlet accosted her, stared at her all tragically, and then ran off, almost as if he regretted having to abandon her for some greater purpose in his life. That old guy discerns with great ingenuity that maybe, just maybe, Hamlet is a bit upset because of that whole Ophelia spurning his affections thing. Because amazingly, nobody in the entirety of Denmark thinks that it might be because his dad died barely 2 months ago.
I mean, I already forgot about his dad dying, so that couldn't be the case. Joking aside. Shakespeare plays are very... There is a style to them. A lot of it is kind of melodrama. Intentional melodrama. And also that it seems like he's making fun of you when he does it. Unlike Henry VIII, where he's explicitly saying, hey, remember how much of an asshole this is? Don't do that, please. Also, I'm not sure they listen, but details.
But no, love is in the air, and Hamlet must be mad with it. That old guy goes to talk to Uncle Dad about it, who decides to enlist the aid of two of Hamlet's friends from England, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, to figure out what's really bothering him and to keep a close eye on him and make sure he doesn't do anything too destructive, like, say, avuncular patricide. Hamlet is thrilled to see his old friends again, but realizes very quickly that they've been put there to spy on him, which leaves him distinctly miffed. But what's this? A group of actors has come to town. Hamlet decides to enlist their aid in determining Uncle Scar's guilt before he does any murdering, by having...
Okay, yeah, she just finally said Uncle Scar. Still not as disturbing as Uncle Dad, though. I just realized they're having a play within a play. Oh, that's odd.
And put on a production that mimics the way that Uncle Scar supposedly killed the old king. If either Hamlet or Horatio sees any slight, subtle change in the king's behavior, his guilt will be assured and Hamlet will take swift vengeance on him. If he doesn't change...
Swift. A 3-hour movie. I'm sure it goes off perfectly.
At all, then the ghost of Brian Blessed was clearly lying and no vengeance will be necessary. Then Hamlet, having been left alone again, soliloquizes once more, specifically about how stupid it is to resolve all personal issues through agonizingly long soliloquies.
Seriously? Honestly, I can't read Shakespeare in English, although a lot of that's because it was not written in the upper crust, very repolished and refined and repolished. I keep saying repolished. Yeah, sure, why not? It's the kind of bullshit Shakespeare would create. It actually perfectly fits. If you actually find a reading of Shakespeare, though, that's done in more of the common brogue, it's actually amazing. It flows so well that even if it's a bullshit word like Hecuba, and I'm pretty sure that's a name, this actually does really flow. In general, almost everything Shakespeare wrote sounds much more natural in a very down-to-earth brogue. I'm saying brogue because there's a specific term for this type of accent in Britain. I don't know it. I'm an American guy. I don't know shit. But I've heard it before, and I remember just thinking, oh, wow, this actually sounds like poetry as opposed to what someone who's like, yes, this is poetry, but you wouldn't know it, would say. And yes, the mms are very important there. Although I could have just summarized that as someone who shops at Whole Foods unironically. That would work too.
No 455 truer words could be said. So Hamlet and Ophelia go to talk about couple things, while Polonius and Uncle Dad eavesdrop to try and figure out if Hamlet is mad with love or just mad with madness. Hamlet quickly figures out that he's being spied on, again, and gets even more miffed than previously. I'm getting too old for this! Anyway, the play within a play is produced, and sure enough, Uncle Dad freaks out. This annoys Hamlet's mom, who goes to have a serious talk with Hamlet about traumatizing his step-parents, and Polonius decides to eavesdrop yet again. But before Hamlet goes in to talk with her, he needs to remind himself to not stab her. At all costs, not to stab his mom. You know, it's just the smallest things you forget that can just ruin a conversation. While heading to her room, he passes Uncle Dad, preoccupied and defenseless, praying for forgiveness for his sins in the chapel. Hamlet, never one to pass up a golden opportunity for avuncular patricide, except like every other time in the play that one occurs, decides to kill him then and there and solve the problem for good. Unfortunately, though, his uncle is praying, and Hamlet reasons that killing him might send his soul to heaven, so he runs off instead. Then, of course, Uncle Dad says, "Man, sure is a good thing that nobody stabbed me or anything while I was praying. I mean, it's not like those prayers were real or anything." Hamlet angrily tells his mom that not only is her marriage to Uncle Dad disrespectful of his dead father, it's also really gross. She freaks.
Yeah, I mean, marrying the brother was a thing. And I don't just mean that as in the brother of your husband. Habsburgs.
Freaks out, and that old guy attempts to help her. Hamlet, thinking that that old guy is his uncle, and thoroughly sick of all the eavesdropping at this point, leaps on him and stabs him repeatedly. Whoops. I'm getting too dead for this.
Yeah.
Hamlet and his mom
First
continue
step.
their argument while that old guy slowly cools in the corner, and
Just-
Hamlet
just
pulls out
ignoring the
pictures
dead
of his
body.
dad and his uncle with a veritable 10-10 would marry rating for his father, and a 2-10 would not usurp for his uncle. Hamlet's mom sees the error of her ways, finally understanding that it's kinda gross to marry your brother-in-law. Hamlet decides that his
I'm with her on that one. Took a little while, but let's ignore that.
work there is done and runs off to hide the corpse somewhere. Our protagonist, ladies
Dead father tells him to kill his uncle and leave his mother alone. Does neither.
and gentlemen. Incidentally, this scene has been the subject of a ludicrous number of interpretations, including one from the Freudian era where Hamlet
Oh, he actually does say, "Oh, I am slain." I forgot. That's the thing they say. Because they be on the stage, so it helps you just tell the crowd what's going on, because some of them wouldn't be able to see it either. Because they would literally be standing on the ground level.
takes the opportunity
With
to
other
kiss
people.
his mom, thus both devaluing his complaints of
Hey! Does this make it the first time? You know, I thought the animations were from a previous video. No, this is actually the first depiction of red ever drawn. And it's a red Osiris eye. Huh. Dude! Hey! Will all great Neptune's oceans wash this image clean from my eyes? No! No, I'm surprised you haven't referenced it more.
incest, and once more proving that Freud ruins all that is good in the world. So
Yes.
Uncle Dad decides that Hamlet is too dangerous, what with all the attempted murder, so he decides to ship him
Multiple.
off to England with Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and orders for him to be killed on arrival. Ophelia is informed of her father's death and takes the news poorly. But wait, a character from the beginning of the play has appeared, and his name is Fortinbras, son of Fortinbras. He's making trouble at the border and making it quite clear that he's having none of the stole it fair and square business from Uncle Dad. Here's hoping that doesn't cause trouble later.
Nah.
Oh. Wait. So Ophelia's gone crazy! Full-on straitjacket and padded helmet, somebody stop me crazy. She runs around singing inappropriate songs and generally making everyone feel hilariously uncomfortable for a bit. But then, as was
I mean, minus the murder, they get over that pretty fast. Actually, considering the king just died 2 months ago and they got over it pretty fast, that's not even a joke.
introduced at the beginning of the play, Laertes appears. Laertes, remember him?
Nope.
Already
Already forgot.
Older brother? Looked a bit like Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, that loser.
Oh,
Enraged by the
yeah.
death of his father and the subsequent madness of his sister, he is determined to take vengeance on the man responsible. And as we know, that would be Hamlet. Nice going, hero. It's time
Yeah.
for yet another scene change. Horatio receives letters from Hamlet detailing how he was captured by pirates en route to England but will be returning to Denmark shortly. Horatio tells the king, who promptly begins updating his schemes to include this new installment. So Laertes and Uncle Dad start plotting Hamlet's death, but try to make it look like an accident so the people
I mean, you're the king, and he's a murderer. You really shouldn't hide it. You should come out and say, "In his grief, he has taken the life of someone I must pay. I'm kingly for doing this because it is hard for me. Because it's not like I would want the man who could usurp my throne to die." Honestly, it's not even a bad move. But again, it's a Shakespeare play, so everything has to be done in such a way. His writing has a very distinct feel to it. And also because subtlety is absolutely lost on a lot of plays because you just can't see the characters sometimes. Some places, it's really good, really great seating. You can do that. Other times, it's shit. It really depends on the playhouse.
Don't freak out too much when the favorite Prince of Denmark kicks the bucket. Uncle Dad suggests that they arrange a fencing match
was
between the two
favored?
of them, but give Laertes an actually pointed sword rather than a foil. Laertes sees his pointed sword and raises him one
I mean, having fenced before, that's not actually the most dangerous thing. The most dangerous thing is when you think it's not a pointed sword and then you stab someone and it snaps and the sharpened bits go everywhere and they actually get into the stream. Because the foil only can stab unless you pierce something really important. Those can be, well, at this time period, probably wouldn't be fixed. It'd probably be more of the infection after that would be really bad. Unlike a saber cut, where if you slice something open, or an epee, if you stab that and it has a triangular wedge, if that makes a cut, you can't fix that. It just bleeds out, man. There's different ways to do it. It's why bayonets and thicker blades that can pierce but then open up the hole as it goes in a triangular pattern are really hard to fix, because a cut can be sutured. A triangle, you need replacements or amputations. And then at this time period, it would probably be just straight amputation. So it's more like you're cut. It'll get infected. You are going to die. Have fun.
vial of untreatable poison, which he apparently carries with him in his breast pocket everywhere, which Uncle Dad
Common.
sees and raises one poisoned wine
Speaking of things that are tropes for Shakespeare, poison! Because it's just everywhere.
glass in case stabbing Hamlet with a poison-pointed sword doesn't
Oh, we had the little one earlier, and now we actually have her animating the mouth? Dude!
kill him
First
fast enough for
video
their
with all
liking
this.
or something.
She
I don't
had
know.
little
There's
eye
no
thing.
kill like overkill, I
I'm sorry, I absolutely love this. Just seeing where she came from.
guess.
Holy
Then
shit.
the queen comes in with her more serious than normal face on and tells us that Ophelia's dead. Apparently, she drowned in the river because nobody thought to pull the crazy lady out of the water before she went under. Such a
Nah.
tragic turn of events could never have been foreseen or prevented. Oh. Wait.
I have no idea
Hamlet's
what she's
back in
talking
his
about.
play and chilling with Horatio. They walk
Wait, what did that say? Hamlet. I can't seem to recall that name. Can't be too important. Probably not.
They walk into the graveyard scene where two comic relief characters with hilariously inappropriate Brooklyn accents are talking about burying some noblewoman of uncertain death circumstances. I wonder who that could be.
No
Hamlet
idea.
notes that maybe, just maybe, this gravedigger isn't taking his job terribly seriously. And soliloquy. Hamlet muses on death, truly
Yep, it's literally, Horatio, I knew ye well. Or, sorry, York, I knew ye well. I'm mispronouncing it. I also don't really care enough.
a novel subject in this play, considering how undistinguished one's skull is from another. Horatio stares awkwardly and considers how those soliloquies look so short on paper. Suddenly, here comes the court of Denmark.
To give you an idea, you can roughly read out loud without speaking too fast at 10 words, roughly 10 words. You should probably say 10 words in a 4-5 second period. You don't want to speak too fast, and this is the level of speech that you should probably do when you're reading from something out loud. It is distinctly slower than a normal cadence. See, I usually talk at this speed. This is the speed I think at, this is the speed I talk at, but if I'm making a point to read something professionally, and if it's in a more aggravated tone or distinguished tone, I would need to slow it down to this pacing. So take 300 words, that's about 10 minutes. I was going 10, but I was going minutes instead of words, so I maxed that up. So yeah, 300 words, roughly a page, spoken at this speed. If you got a bit in there, that might not be a 10-minute page. But if it's 100 words, you're looking at a soliloquy that lasts 3-4 minutes. And that's if you're not taking pauses for dramatic effect to see how things go. So yeah, it adds up really fast.
Carrying with them a coffin. Hamlet and Horatio hide to watch the funeral for Ophelia. This
My
freaks
God.
Hamlet out more than a little. Laertes begins an overly dramatic sequence of angry mourning, and at the risk of being out-hammed in his own play, Hamlet leaps out of hiding and has a flipping out contest with Laertes.
shall eat a crocodile. I'll do
Back at the castle, Hamlet
I just recognized where I know that actor from. Oh my God, it's the freaking detective. It's the accent that they're making movies on all the things like Murder on the Orient Express and I think Murder on the Nile and Death in Venice, and he's the guy playing the I thought he looked familiar this entire time, and then just hearing a French accent would do it.
Back at the castle, Hamlet recounts his harrowing off-screen
Not sure it's
adventure
supposed to
in
be
which he
French, but
uses his
sounds it.
creative writing skills to escape a beheading. Who's laughing now, English students? Anyway, Hamlet has sent Rosencrantz
Not the dumbest way people have escaped a beheading. I mean, there's some pretty dumb ones out there. Some of them were involved. Hey, what if I die a different way first? I think that is definitely one of the dumber ways, because technically, yes, you would not be beheaded. Problem, but I don't think I need to explain it. Because anyone who thinks that, it would be unfun to make fun of someone who actually believed that at this point. It's just shooting down.
and Guildenstern to their deaths for betraying him. Our protagonist, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hamlet is informed by a distinctly
Wait, what was that? It was a lion and a pig? Oh, it was Timon and Pumbaa, because that's the joke, and she just, yeah, they got eaten by a lion. Okay, I see the joke here.
Hamlet is informed by a distinctly boot-kissing soldier of his impending duel with
Was that Robin Williams? It can't be. There's no way. There's no way.
his impending duel with Laertes, sponsored by his Uncle Dad. Meanwhile, at the border, Fortinbras, still a character, begins to march on Denmark. The fight begins. Hamlet proceeds to thoroughly kick Laertes' butt for the first 2 rounds. Hamlet's mom accidentally drinks from the poisoned goblet, proving that one should never leave brightly colored toxic substances within the reach of nobility. Laertes
The Danish royal line. Because I think the joke here is this is why the Danes lost this war. And it's definitely because they just shot themselves in the foot, not because there was an army coming.
hits Hamlet in the shoulder while his back is turned, which pisses Hamlet off enough to make their fight even more epic. During the showdown, their swords are exchanged, and Hamlet hits Laertes with his own sword. A treacherous plot backfires on the instigator?
Who'd have thought?
Inconceivable. So Laertes explains to Hamlet how they're both equally dead, although, having just fallen off a balcony onto
He
his
died
spine,
faster.
Laertes is slightly more dead. Hamlet's mom picks this exact moment to drop dead of the poison, and Hamlet begins
Wait, what did that say? You have just been poisoned. Oh, I guess they had Budweiser.
and Hamlet begins to get the feeling that maybe, just maybe, there was some foul play behind this Uncle Dad-sponsored duel to the death,
Nah.
taking a better late than never
Hamlet, why you no kill Claudius already?
attitude. Hamlet finally gets around to killing his uncle with poisoned sword, poisoned goblet, and decorative chandelier. I
Seriously?
don't remember reading that in the stage directions. Anyway, Uncle
I guess
Dad
they
dies.
added it in.
Shortly thereafterwards, Laertes stops soliloquizing, presumed dead. Hamlet urges Horatio to tell the tragic tale of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, and then drops dead too. Fortinbras
Wait, what did that say? Alas, poor York, you are one dead motherfucker. That's actually, of course, that's one.
Fortinbras bursts in, guns blazing, sees the room full of corpses, and echoes the thought that most of the audience is sharing at this point.
Okay.
What in the heck just happened?
Yep. Only 8. And that was Much Ado About Nothing in Hamlet. I did not know they had a movie about Hamlet. I shouldn't be surprised, and I am, but mostly because they got so many actors who I recognize, specifically a specific one who does a French accent that sounds so incredibly fake. You think it's put on, and then, you know, he kind of does, because that's a thing he's done as a character. And it's really good writing that I just really should get more into. I've heard the movies are good too. I haven't seen them. I just saw he did it. But that was the thing. Also, Seeing Red put her own inserts in there, just a small one in the corner to start. And then the big full one where she animated the lips and had a little few motions around. It's like, oh my God, this is where it started. I thought it was much later when she couldn't use any footage. But no, here she's actually going full in and starting to just animate things. Oh, dude, it's so cool to see where this entire channel started from. I have no idea if it was her or Blue that started up, because I haven't checked out his oldest videos yet. But I want to see more, and I will, because I can. I'll probably do a bunch of the Shakespeare ones just because I'm interested. I want to see where this goes. And also because I'm in a weird position where I know a lot of them, but not all of them. So a few of them will be news to me. And if they're all movies, no, they'll be news to me as well, because I've seen very few of those. Mostly because I always felt like direct-to-TV sequels, and I do mean sequels, even if they're the original movie. Yeah. So if you haven't already, there's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. And also, if there's any specific ones I should check out next, let me know, because, I mean, I'm checking out Shakespeare because someone mentioned, I was like, oh, I should probably look that up. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.